Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing.
Sure.
This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. I would almost joke. I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. Mm-hmm. In so many ways, I would have loved to have been valued. Mm-hmm. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. We've been trying to tell you. And once again, for so long, as a player.
All right, let's break this down. Sue Bird just called out the WNBA for racism. We're going to look at what she said, why she said it, and what it means for the league. Plus, we'll see how this affects stars like Caitlin Clark. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll see the WNBA in a whole new light. Sue Bird dropped a bombshell about racism in the WNBA, and it's way bigger than you think.
They're not talking about basketball because you don't want to talk about basketball, just as you described there. You couldn't get any traction based on your basketball because your basketball couldn't do it. You went to other things. It's like a kid that can't get attention from its parents. They start acting out. I'll start doing things to get my parents' attention because I'm not getting enough attention. That's what you did. You chose bad behavior because your basketball wasn't good enough.
She's talking about long-standing issues that have been bubbling under the surface for years. We're not just talking about one incident or one player here. This is about the entire league and its future. You know what's crazier? This isn't just about what happens on the court. It's about the culture of the league, how players are treated, and the way fans and media react. We're going to unpack what's really going on, why it matters, and how it could change everything for players like Caitlin Clark.
Someone showed up here who plays good enough basketball to draw attention, and now people are actually evaluating my basketball. They're having conversations about, well, who's Rookie of the Year? And so this whole thing of, oh, racism stopped the WNBA. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Here's the facts. Here's what's been the problem with the WNBA. Never appealed to me. And that's not me saying, oh, I'm the most heterosexual person in the world, and I am man, hear me. That's not, it just never drew my attention.
Get ready, because this is going to be a wild ride through the WNBA's hidden battle. You know those heated moments on the court? Well, there's something way more intense happening behind the scenes. The WNBA's got a problem, and it's not just about who's scoring the most points or grabbing the most rebounds. It's about a deep-rooted issue that's been there all along, and Sue Bird's not staying quiet about it anymore. Let's talk about what's really going on. Remember that incident with Caitlin Clark and Dejanai Carrington? Everyone was talking about it, right? The media went wild, fans were all over it, and it seemed like the biggest thing in the WNBA. But here's the kicker. Sue Bird says we're all missing the point, and when Sue Bird talks, we better listen. She's calling out the media and fans for focusing on these player confrontations. It's like we're all watching a movie trailer and thinking we've seen the whole film, but the real story, it's way bigger than that. Sue Bird's saying that while we're all caught up in these on-court dramas, we're missing the real battle happening in the WNBA, and it's not just about what's happening now. This is about issues that have been simmering in the league for years, long before Caitlin Clark even stepped onto a WNBA court.
Caitlin Clark shows up with her ponytail and no tattoos and plays a brand of basketball that's exciting and fun to watch, and voila, a crowd shows up. Be a woman and dress up as a woman. She's going to lean into that. We're going to pair her with Cameron Brink, who likes to dress up and appear like a woman. And Caitlin Clark plays in a way that's exciting and fun. And then the next thing you know, Jason Whitlock's watching and he starts going, well, look at Kelsey Mitchell. That's fun too. I like that.
Let's break it down. The WNBA's got a racism problem, and it's not new. Players have been dealing with this for years, but it's often swept under the rug. Take Alyssa Thomas, for example. She's been in the league for 11 years, and she recently said something that should make us all sit up and listen. She said, I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. That's not just shocking, it's heartbreaking. But here's where it gets really messed up. While we're all focused on around player rivalries and on-court drama. These bigger, more serious issues are getting pushed aside. It's like we're so busy watching the game that we're missing the real fight happening off the court. The WNBA Players Association is trying to draw attention to this. They're saying that some of the media coverage out there is actually making things worse. How? By creating narratives that stir up racist and homophobic comments from fans. It's like throwing gasoline on a fire that's already burning.
Y'all want to talk about racism, and Sue Bird thinks she has to bow down to angry black women in order to be accepted. Black players in the NFL, they don't have a problem drawing attention. So people just turn on and off their black racism. Oh, well, we're good with black men and we'll support them. She just unpacked how she basically went through the same experience as everybody else in the WNBA, and she's a white woman. And she was ignored, no different than the black players were ignored.
So while we're all talking about the latest game or the newest rising star, there are players out there dealing with racism on a daily basis. And it's not just coming from a few bad apples in the crowd. It's systemic. It's built into the way the league operates, the way media covers the games, and the way some fans interact with players. This is the real battle in the WNBA. It's not about points or assists or who's got the best highlight reel. It's about creating a league where every player feels respected, valued, and safe. And right now, that's not happening. Sue Bird's speaking out because she sees this bigger picture. She's calling on all of us, fans, media, league officials, to wake up and see what's really going on. Because if we don't address this now, it doesn't matter how many amazing players like Caitlin Clark come into the league. The WNBA will never reach its full potential.
Then, when the season started and people saw people blocking Caitlin's shot or picking her up full court, it then became, oh, they're targeting her. Oh, they're trying to hurt her.
Exactly.
This is basketball.
Yeah.
But again, what happened was all of these narratives got birthed through Twitter trolls. And I will shout out Caitlin for making that point. Like, these aren't fans, these are trolls. I did not come out of college with the same amount of fanfare as Caitlin. I did not come out of college with the same level of popularity, scrutiny, all of it. Nobody has.
So we've got this huge issue in the WNBA, but here's the real shocker. The fix might be easier than we think. What if I told you that the league's biggest weakness could actually become its secret weapon against racism? Sue Bird's not just pointing out problems, she's calling for action, and not just from the players, but from everyone involved in the WNBA. We're talking fans, media, and the league itself. It's like she's trying to form the ultimate dream team to tackle this racism issue head on. But here's the thing, it's not about focusing on one big incident or one player's experience. Bird's saying we need to look at the bigger picture. It's like trying to fix a leaky roof by just patching one hole.
We as WNBA players were having basketball conversations, and everybody just took it to another place where we were attacking them as people. That's really what happened. That's where it started, that we must just dislike her, that we look at her side-eyed, that we don't want her to come in the WNBA and be successful, that we're hating on her. And college basketball is a very tricky evaluator of talent. There have been players that have had amazing college careers only to get to the WNBA as top picks and struggle. When people were up in arms about Caitlin getting picked up full court, and we talked about this early in one of our podcasts, it was like, well, yeah, you have to. If you don't, she's going to drop 35 on you.
Yeah.
It's called like smart defense.
It might work for a bit, but the whole structure's still weak. So what's the game plan? First up, the WNBA itself needs to step up. Bird's not happy with how Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's been handling things. She thinks the league should be doing more to protect players from all the nasty stuff they're dealing with online. It's like the players are out there on the court, exposed, and the league's not providing enough cover. The WNBA Players Association is backing this up. They're saying some of the media coverage out there is actually making things worse. It's like they're accidentally passing the ball to the wrong team, fueling racist comments instead of shutting them down. But here's where it gets interesting. Bird's not just pointing fingers, she's saying we all need to work together on this. And that includes separating the real fans from the troublemakers. She said, it's not the Fever fans, it's not the Caitlin fans. We're talking about the faction of that group that is pushing racist agendas. It's like she's drawing a line between the true supporters of the game and those who are just there to cause trouble. Now, you might be thinking, that's great and all, but how's this actually going to change anything? Well, imagine if everyone everyone in the WNBA world got on the same page about this. We're talking players, coaches, fans, media, league officials, everyone. It'd be like the whole league suddenly deciding to play zone defense against racism. The WNBA's already said they won't tolerate racist comments. But words are one thing, actions another. If they really stepped up and backed that statement with some serious moves, it could change the whole game. We're talking about creating a league where players feel safe, respected, and valued no matter their background.
But it is just another moment where things get taken onto social media and they just grow and people spew and it turns into something that you can't even recognize within 24 hours. They have been critical from a basketball standpoint. And yet those statements have been just blanket statements on how an entire group of people feel. It led to the Twitter trolls and bots taking over. And what started there was this narrative of petty, jealous players hating on Caitlyn. Mm-hmm. I cannot stress enough how insulting that is. That is probably like potentially the biggest insult you could throw at an athlete.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just about making things better for the current players. It's about setting the stage for the future of the WNBA. Think about all the young players out there watching how this plays out. If they see a league that's truly united against racism, that's actively working to create a positive environment, it could inspire a whole new generation of talent. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to take everyone working together, calling out bad behavior when they see it, and actively promoting a culture of respect and inclusivity. It's like trying to turn a whole team's playing style around mid-season. It takes time, effort, and everyone buying in. Now, imagine if all that hard work actually changed the game. What if tackling racism didn't just make the WNBA better, but revolutionize women's sports altogether? Here's why that's not as crazy as it sounds. Picture a WNBA where players are celebrated for their skills, not judged by their skin color. A league where the focus is on amazing plays, fierce competition, and the pure love of the game. That's the future Sue Bird and others are fighting for, and it's closer than you might think. Let's talk about what this new WNBA could look like. First off, players would feel safe and supported, both on and off the court. No more worrying about racist comments from fans or unfair treatment because of their background. This means players can focus on what they do best, playing incredible basketball. But it's not just about the players. Fans would get to experience a whole new level of excitement. Imagine watching games where every player feels free to express themselves, to play their heart out without fear. The energy in those arenas would be off the charts. And here's where it gets really interesting. A WNBA that's actively fighting racism could become a role model for other sports leagues. Think about it, they could lead the way in showing how to create a truly inclusive environment in professional sports. That's huge. The ripple effects could be massive. We're talking about changing the game for women's sports as a whole. A more inclusive WNBA could inspire other leagues to step up their game. It could encourage more young girls to get into sports, knowing they'll be valued for their talents, not judged for their appearance. You know what else? This could totally change how the media covers women's sports. Instead of focusing on drama or appearance, they'd be all about the incredible athleticism and skill on display. We'd see more in-depth analysis, more highlight reels, more recognition of the amazing things these athletes can do. And let's not forget about sponsorships and endorsements. Companies would be lining up to associate themselves with a league that's known for its positive values and exciting play. That means more money flowing into the sport, which could lead to better facilities, higher salaries, and even more opportunities for players to shine. But here's the real game changer. The WNBA could become the go-to example of how to build a truly inclusive sports league. They could be the ones other leagues look to for guidance on how to handle these tough issues. That's not just good for basketball, that's good for sports in general. This isn't just about making things better for current players. It's about setting the stage for the next generation of superstars. Young players watching at home would see a league where they can aspire to play, knowing they'll be respected and valued for who they are. The competition would get even fiercer too. When players feel supported and free to be themselves, they play better. We could see new records set, new strategies developed, and a whole new level of play that we've never seen before in women's basketball. And you know what? Fans would love it. There's nothing better than watching athletes at the top of their game, giving it their all. A more inclusive WNBA would mean more exciting games, more passionate players, and an even better experience for everyone watching. Alright, let's wrap this up. We've seen the ugly side of the WNBA, the racism that's been hiding in plain sight, but we've also seen a way forward. Sue Bird's calling for everyone to step up and make a change. And if we do, the WNBA could become something incredible. Imagine a league where players are respected, fans are united, and the focus is on amazing basketball. That's not just good for the WNBA, it could change women's sports forever. But here's the thing, it's not just about watching anymore, it's about being part of the change. Are you ready to step up, to call out racism when you see it, to support players who speak out? So what kind of WNBA do you want to see? One that's stuck in the past, or one that's leading the way to a better future? The ball's in our court now, let's make it count.